Live. Woo. Okay. So hello. I'm gonna have Dr. Clayton Barksdale join us shortly. I'm really excited for him to come on the channel and talk about his amazing book. I actually have it right here. It is Mom Where's Daddy? It's a really good book. The first time I read it, it was with my mom, and she was reading it to my daughter, and I cried. So, um, so if you haven't gotten this book, if you haven't heard about it, it's a really awesome book. It's by a Black author, Dr. Clayton Barksdale. I implore everyone to go on Amazon and get this awesome book. And he's going to be joining in like 4 minutes. Okay, everyone knows this is my second live, so I'm not like a pro yet. And I don't use StreamYard like the pros. So I'm using YouTube Live. So he's going to be joining shortly. Hopefully, I did everything right so that he can join. And I do have some questions for Dr. Clayton Barksdale. But if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm so excited for everyone to have the opportunity to, essentially kind of talk to him and communicate with him and ask him anything. He has an extensive background. He specializes in, the fatherless, which is so sad. Oh, he's adding now. Yay. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and bring him on, guys. So let's see. I think I'm doing it right. So hopefully it'll okay, there it goes. Hello.
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good. I was just doing like a slight, like small, short introduction to who you are. I
Okay.
did show everyone your amazing book.
Oh, you got a copy? Okay, cool. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I have a copy, and I said this just a minute ago, but the first time I read it was with my mom, and I
Mhm.
cried. So I didn't make it through
Oh
the
no.
whole book. I read it the second time and made it through. But the first time I cried like a baby. I couldn't make it through it. It's just too close to home. So, but I
Yeah.
I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I encourage everyone to go on Amazon and get this amazing book.
Well, thank you so much. Yes, ma'am.
Of course, so welcome.
And you know what? If I can add, so the
Yeah,
book was designed, with children in mind. But I have
yeah.
noticed that a lot of grown people, are reading it and they are getting, healing from it. So I guess it's a book for
Yeah.
all ages. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I mean, it's a children's book, but if it
Yeah,
resonates with you, it's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks.
that's
So,
right. Yes, ma'am.
and it's a beautiful, beautiful book. The illustrations are beautiful. Everything. It's just an amazing,
Mm,
amazing book. And I really feel like it breaks it down to an elementary level for a
that's it.
child of like 8, 7 to really understand.
Mhm.
And I wish I would have had this book growing up because
Yeah.
I did feel unloved. I did feel unseen. I did feel like the redheaded stepchild or the white sheep of the
Yeah.
family because I did not have a present father. So before we get
Right.
started, I want you to take
Yeah.
a moment and give your background to everybody and just say hi to everyone.
Hey, how you doing? So do you call your audience like a certain name or anything? Like, do you have a name for your audience?
I have like I'm so new to this. I call them like the
Yeah.
Lexi Love crew. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, how you doing, Nation Love Crew? This is Dr. Barksdale. I am a doctor of education, and I spent the better part of my career studying the impact of fatherlessness on children and adults. It's something that I've gone through, as a male, as a child. And the book is really my life story.
Wow.
When I was a child, 18 years old, my father would call me, out of the blue and say, "Hey,
Hmm.
son, put your clothes on. I'm going to come get you." And, like any 8-year-old kid, I would be happy. Mom, my dad come, my dad come, my dad come,
Yeah.
And I would run to put my clothes on and, wait by the front door and as you know, 8 o'clock in the morning would turn to 9 in the morning, then 9 would turn to 12 and 12 to 3.
Ugh.
And yeah, and before you know it, the sun would be going down, the moon coming up, and I would kind of deduce that my dad wasn't coming. And this
Yeah.
process happened over and over and over again until I just learned to stop caring. When I was a teenager. So as you can imagine, the kind of impact that played on a young boy, living and waiting for his father to come. And I don't want to jump into it too fast, but I got to say this: I've been an educator for 23 years, and
Wow.
when I started to teach, um, I noticed that my children, my students, would say, "Hey, Mr. Barksdale, for this weekend, my dad coming to get me. We're going to Memphis. We're going to Georgia. We're going to do so many things together." And after the break, I would find a kid and ask him, so how was it? Did you have fun
Yeah.
with your father? And almost like 90% of the time, they would say, "No, he doesn't come get me." You know, so
Mm.
I saw a lot of my story happening in the lives of those children, and they kind of led me on the study to find out the kind of impact that's having on our young males and girls.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I can only speak from, the female perspective.
Hmm.
I did have a stepfather, and he had been in my life since I was, I say 3, he says 4.
Okay.
But it's, even though my stepfather, he is who I, say that's my dad, that's my father. He is who
Right.
raised me. But
Right.
even though he was there and he was present and he was amazing, I still kind of put
Hmm.
my dad, my biological father, on this pedestal. It was kind of like
Always. Yeah.
he did no wrong, and I ended up being that kid who, oh, your dad's coming to get you, and I'm waiting on the
Yeah.
steps, and I'm waiting on the steps, and then he doesn't
That's
show
right.
up. And then for me, I'm not sure if it was the same for you, but he not only would not show up, he wouldn't call, he wouldn't
Mm.
like follow up to like, oh, sorry, I couldn't get you. Sorry. So it was just like, oh, he didn't come. And
Yeah.
but I would in my head as a child, I would justify it. I would, excuse it in some way because I still kept him on that pedestal. And it took me a long time to really understand why I did that, why I was,
Hmm.
so quick to forgive and still look forward to every single time without fail when he said he'd come. I never, it was never in the back of my, oh, maybe he won't
Well,
come. It was like, nope, he's coming. And I would get so excited every
yeah.
single time.
Well, because first of all, this dad, like that's our
Yeah.
hero. Like that's the person that should love us the most. Mom and dad. And
Yeah.
like it's hard for it's hard for a child. Include myself,
Yeah.
to just to say, my dad isn't the man who I think he is.
Right.
And so what I found out, in my study, a lot of my students and the children that participated, they refer to their father as the sperm donor. You know,
Yeah.
do you know? But you have to take a deeper look into that. Do you know the kind of psychological trauma that took place for a child to refer to his or her father as just the sperm donor? That's a
Yeah.
lot of that's a lot of damage that's speaking out. And it should be addressed. The Bible tells us, it tells grown people, it tells Christians that we need to be like children. That means that
Mhm.
we need to be quick to forgive.
Right.
So what you were doing the right thing. You were
Yeah.
quick to forgive. Quick to forgive. And no matter how, and no matter how many times he hurt you, and your mom and your family by lying to you, you did what you should have done. You forgave him. And that's something that we have to continue to do even as we become grown and more aware of our situations and surroundings.
Right, right. And for parents, I guess for like, these days, if you have,
Mm-hmm.
if that situation is yours for your child, especially for a
That's right.
mom, how do you feel like you could navigate that? Because for me, I can't really recall a lot of conversations I had with my mom after. I
Mm-hmm.
think it was probably due to from, like, embarrassment of, like, "Oh, he didn't show up. I
Mm-hmm.
just don't wanna talk about it. It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I'm fine." But how do you feel like, what do you feel like the best way to kinda go about that and address that with your child when they don't show up, when they don't call, when they're not
Right.
present?
And so in the book, in the children's book, what I did was, the mom, once the child didn't show, the mom told Chance, that's the name of the
Mhm.
kid, that your father is loving you the best way he know how.
Right.
You know, and that's kind of like a safe blanket statement to say because as a parent, as the mother of a child, you don't want to say anything negative about the father to make the child feel like he must choose a side. You
Right.
know,
Right.
because that's going to cause conflict or more conflict within a child if he feel like he got to choose a side where it's mom versus dad.
Right.
and that creates all kind of trauma that I've seen, as a principal, as an assistant principal, and as a and as a behavioral coach. That creates more trauma. So, mom, I know it's a really touchy subject. I know,
Hmm.
it's something that she may not want to do, but the best and the safest thing to say is he's loving you the best way he know how. Okay,
Right.
and it's a safe thing to say, because again, as a mom, you don't want to make the child feel like he must choose a side, whether
Right.
it's mom or dad, because that's going to create so much turmoil, for that child and cause more problems later on.
Right. And my mom, she did a
Mhm,
for me, I think she did an excellent job not talking
mhm.
badly about my biological father or saying anything
The
ugly
same.
about him in front of me, but she
Mhm,
still received a lot of ugliness from me because I
mhm.
guess I did not know how to like process those emotions properly so that
Yeah,
I didn't outwardly just get ugly and angry and,
yeah.
wreak havoc, I guess, on the household because I'm upset. I'm internalizing it and I don't know what to do about it. How do you feel like,
Well,
a child can navigate that?
let me add this, and this is something that we must realize, okay, as a parents, as grown-ups, and as teachers and people helpers. Um, Once Jesus Christ was on the cross, okay, being crucified, one of the last things that he said was, "Father, Father, why have you forsaken me?" Okay,
Right.
so we have children as young as 5 years old, 4 years old, asking themselves the same question. Like
Yeah.
that's a lot for a child to process. I mean, Jesus was trying to process it as he was on the cross. So,
Right.
so imagine just a little, innocent child that think his father is his hero. Being
Mhm.
hurt by him. That is a painful process. So, what I found in my practice was, that most of the people that's experiencing this, either with their father or mother as well, because we have a large population of people living with their grandparents, that they are going through the stages of grief. Okay,
Right.
and most of the people I deal with are in the second stage, which is anger, and in the fourth stage, which is the depression. So
Right.
they are depressed and they're angry, and they will
Mhm.
lash out at people that's attempting to help them. You
Right.
know,
Right.
but as children, we ain't know any better. We just know that, we wanted dad, and dad didn't show up. you know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so so somebody got to get this hurt.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it was the person that didn't deserve it, which was our mother. You know.
Right.
Hmm.
Which was, yeah. I do feel bad. I've apologized to my mom so many times for it just
Hmm.
because it wasn't until I became a parent and I had my own child that I realized she did the best she could. She shielded me from so much. And
Hmm.
even though she got the worst of it, because the ugliness
Hmm.
never went towards my dad, even when he never showed up, when he finally would show up, there was never any ugliness towards him. It was always like,
Hmm.
oh, dad, I was always happy to see him, happy to be around him. And
Hmm.
I really appreciate my mom for what she did, and I hate that it took until I was a grown woman, a mother, to kind of realize how she tried to help me navigate that. But
Hmm.
it's very, very difficult, and for me as a girl, um, my dad, looking at him as, that's your first love. He is supposed to
That's
show
right.
you, how you're supposed to properly be loved, how you're supposed to be treated, and I didn't receive that. So, but I
Hmm.
received that from my stepfather, but it just wasn't, I guess, the same. Do you have
Hmm.
any advice for someone trying to like navigate, I guess, putting that absentee parent on a pedestal while having a really great role model in the household to help you?
Well, well, honestly, from my experience, working with this population of people, uh, we want our biological father. There's just something within us that yearn and cry out for our biological father. It
Right.
just, it's who we are. We
It's an
want to know where
innate.
we came from. Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, we want to know who we came from. But and that's something that's really difficult to get over if you look at it from the aspect of the glass is half empty. But
Mm.
let's look at that from the aspect of half full. And I
Okay.
got to go spiritual for 1 second because that's who God is. God tells us that He is the Father to the fatherless.
Right.
So, and in His wisdom, even though your father wasn't in the house with you or wasn't around the way you want him to be with you, um, he still provided a male mentor or a male father figure to still
Right.
teach you and guide you everything that you need to know.
Right.
So, and that's how much God loves us. Number one, he's spiritual father, but then two, even if your biological father wasn't with you, he still gave you somebody else. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and and that's the mind frame and the approach that we got to see this from. Like
Mhm.
my father wasn't in my life the way I wanted him to be, but I still had my older brothers. They taught me things. I had teachers, had coaches. Uh, my track coach. They still taught me things that I took to the next level. And I
Right.
just give God all the glory because it could have been so much worse.
Oh, I love that. I love that. For
Hmm.
anyone who doesn't have, I guess, someone else in place, someone else to kind of lean on, to
Hmm.
kind of fill that void, to fill that absentee, parent, how
Hmm.
how should they go about trying to, find that community for that child?
That's a good question. So, what I advise people to do is, if you have a child um, that doesn't have a male role model or a father, or even again, because my research is evolving into motherlessness, we have a lot of
Mm,
children that's being raised in a home with their grandparents. So, what I advise is to place their child in sports. Place their
okay.
child, yeah, put their child, in karate, any kind of extracurricular activity that will put the child in the same spirit of a male role model. But
Okay.
again,
Yeah.
but but please let me add, make sure that the man is vetted. You don't
Hmm.
want to have anybody around your child. Make sure he's a safe adult. But again, uh, churches, pastors, deacons, uh, any positive male role model, he needs to be in those atmospheres in order
Okay.
to absorb certain things that he needs to learn.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And
Mhm.
I was in sports growing up, and I do feel
Really?
like me being in sports and having just tons of activities outside of school kept me busy, kept my
Mhm.
mind busy, and kept my mind off of,
Right.
the sadness and the absentness that I kind of felt from not having my biological father around, even though I
Right.
had my awesome stepfather. But I've
Right.
already talked about how that was just kind of hard to kind of navigate when you already
Mhm.
have this parent on a pedestal and you have this other parent kind of coming in and just trying to navigate that relationship, which is difficult. But um I do understand with the sports how that can be helpful. My husband actually he grew up just with his mom. She never remarried. She
Mhm.
never had a boyfriend or anything. She didn't have a relationship with her father as well. So
Mhm.
he had a really difficult time just kind of navigating the world because I feel like for me, a woman cannot teach a man to be a man, cannot,
Okay.
show him the world the way the man is going to, be perceived in the world. That's just not something that they can do. And
That's
he's had
correct.
like a really, really hard time navigating that. Do you feel like, I feel like that kind of constitutes as trauma. Do you feel like that constitutes as trauma?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Because I think for the most part, and this is from, okay, let me kind of backtrack a little bit. When
Okay.
I did my study, I interviewed several students from high school level. They were grades 10 through 12.
Okay.
Okay. I interviewed them and asked about their lived experiences with growing up without a father. So most of the things I'm saying, if not all of the things I'm saying, is coming from other people's testimony. It ain't just me talking; it's testimonies from other people, as well as my lived experience of growing up with this particular problem or this situation. But
Yeah.
if I could, I had a great male mentor when I met my future wife. Okay,
Okay.
let me kind of add this. When I met my fiance at Valley State, she took me home to meet her dad. Now I didn't really. When I went to her house, I saw a big old pair of boots, by the door, and I was kind of. I said, whose shoes are these? Your brother's? Somebody said, no, boy, those my dad's shoes. I
Oh,
said,
wow.
like, I said, your dad stay with you? She said, "Yeah, my dad stayed in the house." Like I was kind of blown back by that because that wasn't common where I came from. Like we didn't see many fathers in the house with their wife and children. So,
Okay.
and keep in mind that I'm 19 years old, so
Yeah.
I should have been,
Yeah.
but but for me that was strange. Like, hold on, now he's living with you? Like,
Right.
you don't find it kind of odd? Your dad living with you? But
That's
but
funny.
it was, yeah, no, for real. So, but once I met him, he came out the back room. And who I was, I said, "My name Clay. I like your daughter." He said he got a job. No, I'm sorry. The first thing he said to me was, "Those earrings in your ear, take them out."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And
wow.
within, oh yeah. And within seconds, I took them out and threw them away. And then
Wow.
he said, "Got a job?" I said, "No, sir. I'm in school. I can't have a job, and I'm in college." He
Mhm.
said, "Well, you got one now. Come and work with me, on weekend." I like,
Wow.
okay, yes, sir. He said, "You got a car?" I said, "No, sir." He said, "How you gonna get to work then?" And he reached in his cabinet and gave me a key to like a 1980 Ford Tempo. And he told me
Oh,
to come work.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. And he told me to come work for him on the weekend. So for about a year, a year or 2 years, I went to work with him, and those weekends turned out to be the most memorable and important days of my life because he taught
Wow.
me how to be a man.
Yeah.
He was a carpenter, so he taught me certain skills.
Oh,
He taught me
wow.
certain skills and how to use a hammer. Because when I was raised in the house with my mom, we don't have hammers. We used to put nails in the wall with a high heel shoe. You know,
Stop it.
no, for real, no.
Wow.
Yeah. So we use high
Wow.
heel shoes to put the holes in the wall, to put nails in the wall. So he taught me, he gave me a hammer and taught me how to measure and how to put down tile and put up cabinets and paint and put up baseboards and cord around. So he taught me a skill
Yeah.
that I still use to this day. And that's what most young boys and most girls are missing. They are missing a mentor, a positive, listen very carefully, a positive male role model that's going to spend time with them to teach them skills and about life.
Okay.
And again, if you don't have a father to do that, God, in His grace, will give you somebody to fill that void, which is
Huh.
in my experience and everyone that I have counseled or coached through this problem. If
Wow.
I hope I answered your
Yeah.
question, I kind of got went back a little bit, but I hope I answered your question.
No, you did. I mean, I'm thoroughly impressed by and you married her, right? That was your wife's dad?
Well, that was my third wife. So I'm playing, I'm joking. Yeah, it's my
Stop
wife.
it.
Yeah, it's my wife. Yeah, it's my wife. Yeah, it's my wife. We've been married now for 23 years. Yes,
Oh,
ma'am.
wow. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Thank you.
amazing.
It's a
That's
long time. Yes,
amazing.
ma'am. Yeah,
Okay, and
yeah. It's a long time.
let me look at my question because I had a question. Let's see. Do you see a difference between kids who have like absentee mothers versus fathers? Like, what is the big difference?
You know what? That's a really good question. And trauma is the same. You
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
um, rather so that child is going to experience the same level of heartache and hurt, whether it's the mom that left or the dad that left the household. They
Okay.
still experience the same trauma. So to me, in my experience, in the kids that I coached through this process, it's been the same level of heartache and rejection. So what I identified was these children or people like us, we are going through something called abandonment and rejection. Okay, we
Right.
have been rejected by somebody that should love us the most, and we're trying to process these feelings. So we
Right.
are really trying to process these feelings of rejection. And let me add this: how old are you? Oh, I'm sorry. When were you born? You in '80s, '90s?
No, I'm a 90s baby. I'm 33.
Oh, okay. You young. Okay, I'm 44, but I'm
You're
old enough to
young.
remember. Nah, you sounded
That's
great.
still young.
But I'm old enough to remember once Michael Jordan left. Okay, once he retired, we had grown men crying that Michael Jordan left. Okay,
Wow.
once LeBron left the Cavaliers, and went to Miami, we had grown men in Cleveland crying, okay, because they were being rejected and being abandoned by LeBron James, a man they never met,
Wow.
a man they never met. Now imagine we have little kids and grown, that's being rejected by the fathers. Imagine the level of heartache and pain that they are going through, okay,
Yeah.
for being abandoned by their father. We
Right.
got men crying by being abandoned by an athlete that they never met and probably
Yeah.
never will meet. So the kids, people don't know how big of a problem this really is. You know,
Yeah. It goes
if you
deep.
look at the data, it does. I'm going to tell you how deep it goes. If you look at the data points, um, most of the youth suicides are committed by children that grew up in homes with their fathers. I think the number is 65%. Yeah,
Wow.
yes, ma'am. Over 90% of the people that run away from homes go from fatherless homes. Um,
Wow.
80% of all people with behavior issues come from fatherless homes. So I think that this is the number one issue that America should address to solve a lot of our societal ills. I think
Wow.
this is the big one. Yeah,
And
I
how
think
do
this
you
is
feel
it.
like we should go about doing it? Like, what steps? What can we do as a
Well, I think
community?
you're right. No, I think you're doing it. Your show, and I did watch a lot of your videos. You doing a big one. You are bringing awareness to this issue.
Well, thank
Because
you.
it's a, oh yeah. I watched a lot of your shows. Your mom, she was pretty adamant about me coming on your show. I can tell that she loves you a whole lot.
She
Sh-
does.
I,
She's my
I can
biggest
tell that she loves
cheerleader.
you. I can tell that she loves you a lot. You hear me?
Yeah, she
'Cause
does.
she hit me up on Facebook and told me about it, and then she emailed me a couple things. So she's adamant, man. And I can tell you that she loves herself and you.
Yeah,
Okay,
she does. That's my baby.
so number one, people don't know why they're hurting.
Yeah.
Like, this is let me say this case study. I had this little girl come to my office one time, and she said she just couldn't explain why she felt. Her word was yucky.
Mm.
She felt yucky, like something was wrong, but she couldn't quite explain it.
Yeah.
So I kept talking to her, and I went through her behavior record, and I pulled up her student report to see was she living with her parents. And I
Hmm.
saw that she was living with her grandmother.
Okay.
So I said, "Well, tell me about your parents. Tell me about your mom." And she went on, told me about her mom. I said, "Okay, now tell me about your father." She said that I don't know who he is.
Mm.
You know, and the more and more and more that we discussed that issue, she said that she began to feel better because I think that we had identified the root cause to her feeling those signs of depression. She
Wow.
wanted to know who her father was. So because she just wanted to know who he was.
Yeah.
So I called mom in, and the mom, she didn't want to talk about it because that was a
Mhm.
really, traumatic experience for her. But guess what though? The minute mom started talking about the father of her kid,
Hmm.
she began to feel better. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
like,
Yeah.
and I know it's so hard to discuss that man that hurt you like that, or I know that you don't want to bring up all those past issues, but
Hmm.
sometimes the best medicine is talking about it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Just
Right.
talking about it to somebody, talking about it to somebody that's not judgmental. And
Hmm.
you having this talk show, this podcast, hearing people talk about this issue that was once kept in the dark, I know for a fact you are doing the Lord's work because people need to just talk about it. And you are really providing a great platform to start this conversation that I hope will go around this nation so they can hear from his father wounds and mother
I
wounds
really
now.
appreciate that. I really do.
Mhm.
Thank you. And since you watched some of my videos, I don't know if you
I
saw that
do.
I made the very hard and final decision for me to
Mhm.
no longer pursue a relationship with my biological father or be
Mhm.
around him or involve him in any way, shape, or form or his family because it
Mhm.
kind of got to the point of the Maya Angelou quote rings in my head: when someone shows you who they are, you believe them.
Mhm.
So me now as a mother looking back to my childhood saying that he didn't show up, he didn't show up, he didn't call, he didn't try. And then in
mhm,
my young adulthood, the same thing. And now that I have a
mhm.
child, it's still the same thing, but kind of 10 times worse. Do you feel like, that could have a traumatic effect on me or my kids in the long run because I've
I
made that decision?
I know it can.
Mhm.
Oh my god, I was about to say something I just forgot. Isn't it crazy? Um, yeah, I I know it can, and I know it will, and I know it has, and I can say that he's maybe not coming around. And this is my guess because
Mhm.
it happens. Most people. I had to have this conversation with my dad. It was. We had to have a conversation.
Yeah.
Now we are close. Now we are closer now as an adult than I have ever been. With him as a child.
Wow.
But I think, and I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm guessing, but your father, he is also embarrassed, you know, that he wasn't the man that you wanted him to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So he probably not coming around because he's embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? And he let you
Mm.
down. And so what we got to do, we got to continually give grace to these people because they make mistakes like we make mistakes. It's just that their mistake hurt us, you know.
Right.
But I really do think like some fathers that I've spoken with, and I mean I spoke with a lot of fathers.
Yeah.
I think people are coming around. So if he's anything like the ones that I've spoken with, I think that he's embarrassed,
Mm.
because he let you down and
Okay.
he know what he should say to you, but it's hard for him to say it because he let his baby down. You know,
Mm.
there's one thing about age that give us clarity, and the things that they put before us when we were younger, the things that they thought were so important, they are now realizing through age that those things didn't mean anything because all that hurt on my baby girl. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I really do think now, um, once he finally come to you, and apologize the way he should, for not being there, he's gonna be healed from this process too because he's hurt, and he's shamed, you know, because
Mm.
he hurt you. And not only does he know he did because you that's your audience, you told people about this.
Right.
He know he hurt you, you know. So there's no doubt about it. He
Right.
hurt you, and you know he did. And I'm pretty sure that the Holy Spirit, he is eating at his conscience every single night. And I'm
Mm.
pretty sure sometime in the future, he's going to come to you and apologize, and that's for your forgiveness.
Mm. Yeah. I mean,
I
yeah.
know.
I agree.
I
It's
know.
just it's a hard process, but
It is.
I can hear you and I can receive that.
Mhm,
For parents who do feel that though, if I put myself in his shoes, for anyone that is an absentee parent dealing with embarrassment and just deciding to kind of stay in that shell of embarrassment and not try, not
mhm.
apologize, not, like what do you feel like they should do to kind of get out of their head with the embarrassment and move forward so that they can have a relationship or that they can have a healthy conversation with their child?
Well, I think what fathers must do, and mothers again, because there are a lot of mothers now that's sending their children to live with grandmother. Uh,
Mhm.
they have to push past those feelings of pride, of embarrassment. They're gonna have these important and difficult conversations with their children. They
Right.
must do it. Again, it's gonna be something that's gonna be really, really hard for both of y'all.
Mhm.
But once it comes and once it happens, you're gonna feel a feeling that's gonna be so amazing. You wish it would have happened years earlier,
Right.
and he is too, and he is too, with the reconciliation. And I know for a fact, I'm gonna say that they watch your shows. You know what I'm saying? Because people want to
Mhm.
know because people want to know, what's been said about them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure him or his sister, brother, or somebody close to him watching his shows and reporting to him everything that's happening. So
Yeah.
if you're listening, sir, please just reach out to your daughter, reach out to your baby girl, and tell her, and ask for her forgiveness for the mistakes you made. And it's something that we all have to do. We have to all confront these devils and demons that we cause. It
Right.
just it's just part of it.
Right,
Mhm.
right. How did you navigate that with your dad since you kind of went through something similar? So how did that kind of go with your
Man,
father?
let me tell you, that's a good question. Now I'm an old man now. Like I always knew that something was wrong. You know, like what's wrong. I just didn't feel quite
Yeah.
right sometimes.
Mhm.
Um, so my dad, he would call me sometime, and I would get my phone, answer it, and I run outside and talk to him. And this me like being in my 30s, like 35 years old.
Oh wow,
Like,
okay.
yeah, like so I came back in the house one day from talking to him, and my wife said, "Clay, you smell so hard." Like I said, "I am." You know, it was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, like my dad called me. You like, it's my
Yeah.
dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even
Right.
in my mid 30s, I was still looking at him like my hero, even though he caused all that trauma. It's
Right.
still my
Mhm.
dad. You
Yeah.
know. Um. So with me and him, my dad, man. He's a great comedian. So everything is easy with him. Like
Yeah.
he's just a easy type of guy, chill guy.
Mhm.
And he said, Clay, I just want to apologize to you. I'm sorry for not being there the way I should have. Um, you know, I'm sorry. And I
Yeah.
said, yes, sir. It's all fine. Things working out. Things, are going well. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the end of it. And we still talk, but again, we don't talk as much
Mhm.
because I'm not at the age number where I need the guidance.
Right, right.
That stage has passed, but we have cleared the air, and I have forgiven him for not being there. When I needed him to be there.
Wow. I mean,
Hmm.
that's really amazing though that you guys are, I mean, you don't have like an amazing relationship, but you don't have any ugliness. It's just,
No, no.
which is, yeah,
Mhm.
that's really nice that you've been able to kind of get to that place. And when did he
Yeah.
apologize to you? How old were you? You were 35?
Uh, yeah, about 2 years, about 9 years ago. Yeah, when I first started doing my research, and I started publishing a lot of things on Facebook, my testimonies from fatherless children. Every
Mhm.
Facebook friends, and I think he was reading everything, and it kind of touched them, and then they kind of
Mm.
started our relationship. Yeah. So a lot of the healing came from Facebook posts, from my research, and I think he was reading it too, and it kind of and it touched him a whole lot. So
Oh
I think they kind
wow.
of started the process. Yeah,
That's really
but too,
beautiful.
also now I gotta add that maybe it's not meant for you guys to have like the prototypical daughter or father daughter relationship once
Right.
everything is healed.
Mhm.
Maybe because and I don't know him, I'm just speaking about other situations. Some people are still toxic. And if they are
Mhm.
invited into your life and invited into your space, they can do you damage and harm.
Right.
So it may be just be meant for the father to come in, baby, I'm sorry, I apologize, no, forgive me. Yes, Father, I forgive you. Hug, kiss on the cheek, and go separate ways. You know,
Yeah.
because some folks are so toxic and they can bring all kind of bad influences within your
Mhm.
space, and you don't need that. You don't need
Right.
that. Mm.
And I think that's kind of, I mean, how would you kind of know someone's intentions? How would you? Because you don't know their intention. If they're coming to you with an apology, they're like, okay, I finally see you. I hear you. I've hurt you. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. But knowing their intentions behind it, is it are you apologizing to apologize, or do you actually want a relationship, or do you have an
Well,
ulterior motive? You know?
that's a good question. And one thing about humans is we can't judge the heart. The only thing that
Mm,
we can
yeah.
do is go off their best. The only thing that we can do is say, thank you. I accept or I don't. Hopefully, you say yes. Okay, I forgive you too. But it's up to God to judge him and to judge his intentions. We can't do that.
Right.
So and it should make us feel a lot better knowing that that's not on us. You know,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
our job. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So that's one less thing to worry about. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Either you mean it or you don't. That's not my job.
Yeah. Take that off
That's
my
it.
plate. Let go. Let
Yep.
God.
That's
I
it.
love that. I love
That's
that.
it.
Can you
Hmm.
describe kind of what a healthy or not absentee, but what a healthy parent outside of the household kind of looks like? So if you're a child of divorce and your parents are separate, what does a healthy relationship with that parent look like?
Yeah, yeah. So let me say this. There are five types of fathers or five types of mothers. Okay.
Okay.
Um, and so let me kind of go over this. There are several reasons why a parent may not be involved. Okay, the most
Okay.
obvious reason is because he or she may be, deceased, and he can't be
Mm,
involved because they passed away. Clearly,
right.
and then there's the mother or the father that stays with the child, but he is not emotionally connected to the child. That means that he come home from work, he drop his bag by the door, he go to the
Mm,
bedroom, close the door. The next time you see him again, he's going back to work. So he's in the
wow.
house, but he is not in the house.
Involved.
Okay,
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
you go. Right. And then there's a father where he is in the house, but his job requires him to be on the road, maybe like a soldier or a truck driver or something
Mm,
like that.
yeah.
And
Okay.
then there's his prototypical father. We call them, the Disney dads. The Disney dads would be there at every game. Every time
Yeah.
when you sit, you right there kissing on, yeah, what's on, baby girl? What's on, boo boo? He's there for everything. That's the dad that we all try to be. That's the dad that we all try to aim for. And
Right.
then there, and then there's his last dad, they want to get all the Facebook posts, all the Twitter feed. This is the no good, dirty, rotten scoundrel, absent father. Okay, that's going to get most all the shout outs. Okay, that's the one that the old sorry deadbeat guy.
Yeah.
Um, but there are several reasons why they're not involved. Okay,
Hmm.
so again, they're too involved into work or not emotionally connected. And then there's the one where they are in the military, the Disney dad, the perfect father. And then there's the father that's just absent, just don't want no bearings with the child.
Hmm.
Um, and all that, I forgot your question. I'm sorry. What was the
Oh,
question
I was
again?
saying, what does a parent outside of the household, what does a healthy parent outside of the household look like for a child?
Oh yeah. First and foremost, keeping promises. If you say you
Okay.
are going to pick up your baby, don't break your word. Spend time. I saw a quote that said, "Children spell love Time, and that's the
Mm,
perfect. They want your
yeah.
time. They
Yeah.
they want to be in your face. I don't. Man, I got two girls at home, 13 and 8, and let me tell you, when I wake up, they are right there in my face. When I go to sleep, like it's unreal. Like they are
Yeah.
all over me. But
Oh,
they just, yeah, like it's unreal. But they want time.
yeah.
If they having a game, they want to see you in the stands cheering for them.
Hmm.
Your presence matter. I
Right.
also saw another little quote that said, "Your presence is a present." Like
Yeah.
they want to see you.
Yeah.
There was I was serving as an assistant principal one school year, and this player, a big old guy,
Hmm.
he was, I think he was a center for the team, big tall guy.
Yeah.
He just broke down mid game, So
Wow.
I called him outside. I said, "What's going on?" In the first note, he didn't want to say, but I kind of got away. I kind of keep asking questions, and he said that I'm looking in the stands, and all my teammates' fathers are in the stands, but
Oof.
my dad said he was coming and he didn't show up. You know,
Mm,
my father isn't in the stands watching me. These kids
mm,
want somebody to be there watching them. They want to
right.
feel like they're the main character.
Yeah. Yeah. And they
And,
deserve that.
and
I feel
believe it
like
or
every
not,
child deserves that.
yep, that's right.
And it
But
makes a difference when you're not there.
that's correct. Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. They want to feel like they're the main character, and if you're not there, the parents not there supporting them, they will have adverse effect on the child.
Yeah. What do you feel
Yes, ma'am.
like
So. Mhm.
what do you feel like fatherless has cost our community overall? I mean, you talked about, anxiety, depression, the
Mhm.
kids who commit suicide, the crime rate for kids that are just growing up in single mother households. Like, what do you feel like the full scope of that fatherlessness has cost the community overall, and how can we, rectify that?
That's good. So the full cost, I think we went over most of those already with the homeless rate, um, with the behavioral with the behavioral rates and everything with
Yeah.
the anger problem. I think 80% of most of the children that's in school have anger issues or coming from homes without fathers,
Hmm.
um, and if you look at society, I work at a prison sometime, and I teach classes at a prison.
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah, and I always ask my students. I said, raise your hand if you grew up in a home without a father. And
Mhm,
most of the inmates, like my classes are small, so this class here had like 10 people in there.
mhm.
Uh, seven, I think seven of them raised their hand. Seven of those 10 inmates grew up in homes without their dad.
Wow.
So you're right. And if you look at that against the national data, it's almost the same percentage point. 70 to 80% of people that are in prison are in homes without their father. So
Wow.
yes, this is a very critical issue that must be addressed. So how do we do it? Well, this is a really good and important topic here. Every father that's out there aren't good people. Okay. So
Mhm.
I would love to say, hey, we just need to find the kids' daddies and put them back in their lives. Some men still aren't ready to be fathers.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So but their children deserve to know what happened. Why'd you leave me? They want to know these things. So there are several programs out there that focus on reconciliation, where they
Okay.
where they find the father and child, and they have these and they have these counseling sessions with the two to kind of to fix a relationship or to resolve a relationship.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not.
Okay.
um Two, uh we need to have more mentoring programs. um
Okay.
Three, we need to have more literature, more books. I know kids love reading Harry Potter and want to know about riding or flying dragons and everything, but
Yeah.
but for the most part, we also need to bring in books that deal with certain issues that children go through, which is fatherlessness, which is one of the reasons why I wrote the book. I wanted to insert that into the literature, so once a child read it, he'll know that somebody else think like him, and that there are
Right.
ways out. There are ways to stop feeling so much anger and depression and guilt.
And you're not alone in your
Um,
feeling, you're not the only one.
that's it. You know what? When I was a kid in school, I remember getting like a 20 on my test, like an F. It was a real bad grade.
Oh,
So, so,
did you spell your name
so,
right? A 20.
yeah, yeah. So let me tell you what happened though. I felt bad. I felt
Yeah,
horrible
yeah,
until I started seeing other people in my class with bad grades. I said, okay, I'm not the only dumb one here. Like, they made me feel better seeing other
yeah,
folks flunk. But
yeah,
my point is that people, they feel better if they know other folks are going through those same situations. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So, and again, I got to bring this back to you, Les, because what you're doing is a very important job. You are bringing a light to a very dark topic that people don't like to address. So, what
yeah.
you're doing, you are causing a lot of healing out there, because you are letting people know that there are people like you, successful people.
Don't make me cry on
Um,
live. I can't edit this
well,
out.
well, no, but no, listen, because I saw your things, and you know, I'm a guy, you know what I'm saying? So I try
Yeah,
hard to hold my tears back, you know what I'm saying? But there are times, when I wanted to cry during my presentations, but I
yeah,
watch your show and you just let it all hang out. Like you just
yeah,
you just this is me. You figure it raw and uncut. This is what it is,
yeah,
and people need to see, like, women, professional women like you, that's going through these issues and still being successful, still going to get help, still seeking answers, still seeking solutions. So
yeah.
you are doing a mighty work, and I just need you to know this coming from an expert in the field. We need a voice like yours.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. Because it
Yes,
had
ma'am.
that was one of the biggest things. I was like, I'm gonna do this because I want to help someone. I hope it resonates and reaches someone. And even though there was like negativity, people like, oh, you're airing out your family, and it's this is ugly,
Mhm,
and it's not for YouTube and blah blah blah. But for me, I made the decision to kind of cut ties with that family for my own
mhm,
mental and emotional stability for myself and for my family. And
mhm,
I felt like me sharing that journey of how I got there and why I got there would help someone realize like, hey, if you're at this point, that's okay. And if you feel this way, you're not the only person. Like I'm going through this, and not only am I going through it, my family's out on a reality TV show. So it's
Mhm.
so it's like it extremely, extremely public. So I just wanted people to kind of like understand that, healing, it's a journey. It's not like, oh, I'm going to share my story, I'm healed, I'm better, I'm done with them. Like, no, it's like an active thing that I have to do every single day, every
Mhm.
single time one of them cross my mind. I have to actively remember to forgive, actively remember to
Yep.
sit in a place of love for them even though they hurt me.
Got to.
And
You
that's
got to.
so hard. But
It is.
you have to do the work, because it not only affects me personally, it affects my kids, it affects my
Mhm.
marriage, it affects, just my family in general. If I am not being honest with myself about, hey, you're struggling. Hey, you were
Yep.
rejected. Hey,
Yep.
you feel like somebody doesn't care about you, they don't see you, they don't want to be around you, whatever it
Mhm.
is. And it's the person that was supposed to be that for you, was supposed to love you, was supposed
That's
to,
right.
you know, and it's okay, it's
You're right.
okay and it's necessary to do the work.
So let me ask, children, they are really, really selfish.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it, and I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean that, like, if there's a problem in a household, or if anything is wrong, they're going to assume, what did I do wrong? Like why is it
Yes.
happening? They're going to blame
Yeah.
themselves, like, and then they're going to take it upon themselves to try to fix the problem.
Oh yeah.
And with you, I'm pretty sure you are anything like my other people that I coached. If the father wasn't around or the mother wasn't around, they assumed that something was wrong with them, but
Yeah.
it's not. It
Yeah.
wasn't your fault. It
Right.
wasn't your fault. And if your father wasn't around or your mother wasn't around, it was not your fault.
Right.
And that's what we all need to realize. You were innocent in this, and you were just a casualty of the situation,
Right.
but it
Right.
was not their fault. And I do think that a shift is going to happen, or does happen once the person realizes that it wasn't my fault. You are blameless in this. You didn't
Right.
make him not gonna get you. You are beautiful enough. You were smart enough. You were the perfect daughter. He just chose not to for his other reasons that he's going to, that or
Right.
he maybe won't say. You know, but
Yeah.
it wasn't your fault. No man. You
Yeah.
you, you are here blameless in all this.
And it's easier to say that than to actually feel that, to actually like,
Mhm.
oh, it's not my fault. It's easy to say, but to actually feel
Mhm.
it and know it,
Mhm.
that takes work. It's I feel like that is something that a lot of people say, but it's not something that a lot of people kind of work through to actually feel and internalize. Because
Mhm.
you'll say it out loud, but then actually internalize, but maybe it is something with me. Because he
Mhm.
was, maybe he was a father to other kids he had. Maybe he was better with
Mhm.
them, but not with you. So then it's hard to say the whole, "Oh, it's not you," but then look at how he treats other people. Look at how he treats
That's right.
his other children, and it takes a lot of work,
It
like a
does.
lot of work. And I feel like I will be on this journey of healing,
Mhm.
understanding, and just kind of trying to move forward for a long time, maybe for the rest of
Mhm.
my life. Just because of the impact that a father or mother has, in your
Mhm.
life. And I don't know. I feel like a lot of people kind of sweep that under the rug, or kind of feel like, oh, I'm not the only one. This happens to other people. It's not a big deal, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you need to really understand that abandonment, that rejection affects
Yeah.
you deeply.
It
Affects you
does.
so deep that you don't even realize when you're getting upset, or when you are treating someone ugly, or if feel a certain type of way about another person. Maybe
Mhm.
it's because you feel like you see your father, or you see your mother that abandoned you in that person, and that's why you're going the way you're going, the route you're going, by treating them the way that you're treating them. Like, it
That's correct.
affects and impacts so much in your life.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate the fact that you are someone, especially being a black man, you are
Yeah.
being someone
Yeah.
that is coaching and helping and speaking about it and
Mhm.
bringing awareness to it. Because I feel like for our community, especially the black community, it's just kind of like, up, it's a known thing, and whatever, get over it.
Well, depending on what age the father left the home, if he left during the formative years, as you know, that is the most important years of a person's life. You know,
Yeah.
those first, I think, up to 2, 3, 4 years old, those are the most important years. So, if in that early age, the child has learned that he or she can depend on his father, they can impact him for the rest of his life. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
um, and for some people it does. You will see people like that bouncing from relationship to relationship. Kind of hard to trust in people because the person that they love the most, left
Mm,
them, and abandoned them.
yeah.
So there is something that should be studied more, I think. But also at the end of everything, this conversation, or at the end of everything, we need to forgive. That is the overall theme
Oh,
at the
yeah.
at the story of fatherlessness. If there's a book on the impact of fatherlessness, the last chapter should be on forgiveness.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have to forgive, forgive, forgive. And like the devil does, he's gonna play in our minds, he's gonna get us to think of ways to no, our dad did us wrong. He could have did
Yeah.
this. He did this. He chose this over who. But at the end of the day, the Bible says to renew your mind constantly. That means that once a negative thought comes to your mind, I forgive him, Lord. I forgive him. I forgive him.
Right.
So it got to be a mantra to you, mantra to you, just to keep forgiving
Right.
until it slowly fade away, and you'll know the biggest telltale sign that you have forgiven someone is if you can think about the incident and you won't have any kind of emotional attachment to it. You know,
Right. Yeah.
once you stop crying about it and that thought is the same as that's a green skitter right there. You gotta know that you have truly forgiven that person because there is no emotional attachment to that heartache and that trauma that was caused in your life.
Right.
So but this has been, I think, therapeutic for you. This talk show has, your podcast has, and talk about it. Talk to people
Yeah.
about it. And the more you talk about it, the more comfortable you are in expressing yourself. And then before you know it, you're gonna try to start crying. Like, no, I'm not crying no more. Like, wow,
Yes.
like I can talk about this. Like, I can talk about
Yeah.
I want some chocolate cake. Like it just no for real. Like the,
Yeah. Yeah.
the one day you're gonna see the tears gonna stop flowing. That
Yeah.
means you have talked about it enough, and then you have truly forgiven that person because there's no more
Yeah.
emotional attachment to it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I feel like also, I mean, we're about to hit the hour. Um, I'll just,
Already?
yeah. Yeah, I know. I know.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you kind of want to leave the audience with? I do want, again, everyone go purchase this book on Amazon. Um, bring a tissue when you read it, especially if you're going to read it. Read it first. If you're going to read it to your kid, read it first so you can cry in peace and not in their face, and then read it to your kid because it's a really great book. But
Hmm.
it does hit the heartstrings pretty hard. So, is
Hmm.
there anything you want to leave with my audience before I let you go? And I thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's just one thing. So what I did, I actually designed an online class
Oh
for
wow!
people going through fatherlessness, and then walks them through the stages of grief.
Wow.
So if
Okay.
you're yes, ma'am. So if you're interested in that class, the website is www.stonetostatues.com.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's online curriculum, online class, and it walks people through the process of grief so they can truly forgive their father.
Ooh, I
Uh,
love that.
yes, ma'am. It's a lot of stories in there. A lot of questions, and as you complete the modules, you get rewards and certificates and everything. And this is my way of trying to fight this problem that we got here in America.
Yeah. Oh, I
Mhm.
love that. And I will actually get that information from you and attach it to this live. So, anyone watching, if you want to join that, I'm sure that's going to be an amazing resource if you are going through
Mhm.
anything similar to what I've been going through. If
Mhm.
anything that we've talked about today resonates with you,
Mhm.
yes, please use that as a resource, as a tool. And thank you so much, Dr.
No, thank
Barksdale.
you.
I
Yes,
so
ma'am. Thank
appreciate you. This has been
Yes,
amazing.
ma'am.
I really, really appreciate you. And this probably definitely will not be the last time you hear from me. So,
I'm ready. I'm ready whenever. Just call me up. Now come
Okay,
running.
awesome. Well, thank you for joining. Thank everyone in the chat. I'm sorry if I didn't really kind of get to you guys. I was kind of flowing with the conversation. I'll get to the questions later, but I will give all the links and everything in the description so you guys can purchase the book, join his class, and I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. It's Easter weekend, right? I
It
believe
is,
so.
yeah. Good
Yes.
Friday. Yeah.
Have a yeah, mom, because I know you're watching. I hope you plan on
Hey,
cooking.
mom.
Hope you plan on cooking, mom. That would be great. So, but yeah, everyone have a beautiful night. And thank you again, Dr. Barksdale. We really
Yes,
appreciate
ma'am.
you.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you.
Mhm.